Mariah the Scientist dropped a new album, and it came out on Friday. I've listened to it a bunch of times. It's 35 minutes, and it's got a weird licensing thing with the release. So it's under Buckles Laboratories. I don't know whose label that is, but that's an LLC under exclusive license to Epic Records, a division of Sony Music. So I guess Mariah is signed to a subsidiary to sign to someone, and then that company is signed to Epic. I don't really know much about that part. I just know about the music. Usually I come up in here and I'm like, I got some info. I have no info today. So I just have thoughts on the project. But it's 10 songs, 35 minutes, short and sweet. And it's called Hearts Sold Separately.
What
So
do you think?
So I like it, and I want to start with a disclaimer. Mariah the Scientist is not Mariah Carey, nor is she Whitney Houston. And why do I say that? Because I'm seeing people and hearing people say, like, Mariah the Scientist ain't a real singer. And she is a singer, but there's different levels to singing. Now, when I put on Mariah the Scientist, I'm not expecting to hear Mariah Carey, nor am I expecting to hear Whitney Houston voice. Right? I'm not expecting that type of vocal range when I put on Mariah the Scientist. So I just want to start there. I think for Mariah the Scientist, this was a good project, but I'm comparing it to other Mariah the Scientist projects, not to Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, and the greatest singers of all time, right?
Which is really how artists should be prepared. What am I saying? Which is really how artists should be compared. They should
Yeah,
be compared amongst their own work, unless there is a competition, right? But when we're just
right.
having a conversation about, oh, is this a good project? Does this sound good? That should be the benchmark should be based on their, I guess, whatever you consider their greatest work. But not necessarily other artists. We
Yeah.
can do that, but we don't have to do that all the time. So
Yeah, I just feel like cats are saying like she can't sing and she's not a singer, but I don't think she said she was Mariah Carey or Whitney Houston or any of those greats. She's just doing her thing. At least I've never seen her say anything like that. So I don't know where people are getting those types of comparisons from.
I think that she has shared that some of her inspiration comes from Prince and Whitney Houston. So
Okay, so
maybe
maybe
people
that's
are
why.
making that connection. I also think that inspiration, when you take inspiration from other people, it doesn't necessarily mean their voice. Sometimes it means that, but not all the time. Sometimes it could just be their sound. What was
Yeah,
the
there's
production
songwriting,
like
many
during that
many different
era?
components.
Because I will get to, I think that there are elements in her music that very much point towards the Prince and the Whitney Houston era,
Hmm.
but yeah, I think sometimes people get too in the weeds. It doesn't always have to be literal and on the nose as
Yeah.
so many people think it needs to be.
Yeah, so I just wanted to start there. It's 10 songs. I like all 10 songs. I don't think any of the songs are whack or need to be skipped. There are two songs I do wish they separated, which is United Nations plus 100 Ways to Die and All I Want plus In Pursuit. I'm not a fan when there's two songs on one track. That's just a personal thing. It doesn't mean it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not a big fan of it. Even when big artists like Rihanna have done it, I'm not a big fan of when people put two songs on one track. So I wish those were separated. But I will say
Mm-hmm.
100 Ways to Die into Internal Flame was a great transition.
Mm-hmm. It was.
So yeah, so I've listened to this project probably 4 times now. I really like it. I really like that it pulls from different eras. You can hear like sounds that you would only hear in the 80s. And you can also hear some things that you would only hear right now, like the trap drums and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I really like that a lot of this to me kind of sounded like it was inspired by the 80s. It does sound like they pulled some 80s Prince, 80s Whitney Houston esque things sonically or sound wise.
I should have
And
went
that to me
first.
was too bad. That to me was pretty fly. Next time go
Because I
first.
just gonna steal my review.
Well, I was already going to say that it came from the 80s. So once you added the Prince and Whitney Houston part, it makes even more sense. Um, and I was really nervous when I first saw the track list. Like when I first went to the project, not like a tweet or anything, but when I first went to the project and I saw Is It a Crime? I was like, please do not be redoing Sade. If this is trying to redo Sade, I'm not going to like it. But it didn't. And I was very happy that they did not try to redo Sade. Because Is It a Crime by Sade is a classic.
Mm-hmm.
So I was happy that they didn't do that.
It
Uh,
trends on TikTok.
oh, yeah?
It's the strangest thing. I mean, not a bad thing, but it's because TikTok loves music like that. So yeah.
That's interesting. Um, yeah, so my favorite song is probably Eternal Flame. I also really like the song More. It's a different type of record than the rest of the project, and I thought it makes it stand out. And I just want to say last thing, and then you can go. No More Entertainers was really funny to me.
Oh yeah.
I think it's a perfect way to end the project, but I'm like, but aren't you still with Young Thug? Like, aren't y'all still together? So I thought it was funny.
Sometimes it's complicated.
Clearly it is. Clearly it
Sometimes
is.
it's complicated, just the
Clearly
girls
it
be out
is.
there struggling.
And I'm not mad at it. But it was funny. To me it was funny.
Yeah.
So
I,
yeah, those are my thoughts. What about you?
I thought it was great. I did not listen to it 4 times, so I do not remember all the track names. I'm going to be
Okay.
honest. But I thought it was great. I like that she's so inspired by the 80s. When I was listening to it, I was like, who made these beats?
Right.
Because, because whoever did, like, clearly loves the 80s. Very clearly. Even when it wasn't so much like heavily 80s inspired, it still felt like there was something there that was leaning towards that direction, which
Yep.
I really loved. I mean, it made me think of all the R&B music from the 80s that I love. Um, and if you can do that, if you can make me nostalgic, you've already won as far as I'm concerned. She
Yep.
sounds good. I agree with you. I don't think that she sounds like the people that were mentioned before. I don't want to keep saying their names, but I do understand like some of the music they made, you can hear some of that in this. Not directly, but like that same style, that same, again, the beats are very much playing in that world, which I love, and I think that's, I don't want to call it such a risk, but I feel like today the sound is very much like set. When you're an R&B singer, you're either singing like one way or another way. You often sound like, I don't know, like a Janae Aiko, or I could list a bunch of people. I won't go ahead. Like a Summer Walker. I feel like they have kind of similar sounds. And it's not to say she doesn't ever sound like that, but I think that because of the fact that we're kind of used to R&B singers playing in that same vocal range, it's nice when the beats kind of divert a little bit from what we're used to and they're able to play around with it a little bit more. There are multiple ways to um, expand your talents and to be different. It doesn't always have to be a different voice. It doesn't always have to be like, everybody has their own thing, and I love that this seems to be her thing. Um,
Yeah.
I don't
And I
have
agree.
any.
That was a great point. Oh, sorry. Just real quick, I would
No,
say
yeah,
it's a great point that you said it was a risk. I didn't even think about that.
yeah,
So great point.
because I think the kids know what they like, and they like what they like, and I think they're open. Don't get me wrong, but I also think that it sometimes, you know, you have you have whatever is happening now and what people like now, but then you also have like people like me who are a little bit older and love R&B, but also don't want things to get too crazy. Like if you're gonna give me R&B, I just want some good solid R&B. I don't need you to do a whole lot to get
Hmm.
there. Um, So I appreciated that, this felt very much also at the same time, it felt very much like roller coaster music mixed with
Okay, I see why you say that.
her, mixed with, I don't know, it was like a bunch of different things. But again, when you think about people like Prince and Whitney Houston, those are they gave us some roller coaster music back in the day. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, I have said this before, but for those who are new, whenever you watch a film or a TV show sometimes, but mostly films, whenever you're watching a film and they go to an amusement park or a carnival or something like that, and they get on the Ferris wheel or they get on the roller coaster, there's a very specific type of music that is played. It's not always the same genre. It's not always the same type of artist. Sometimes it's a Miley Cyrus song. Sometimes it's a Whitney Houston song. Sometimes it's a Drake song. But there is a specific type of music that they use for these sequences, and I always call it roller coaster music. So if you know what that is, if you understand, great. If you don't, please go look up any movie that has a roller coaster or Ferris wheel scene and you will hear exactly what I mean. But it's like a feel good. It's like there's sunshine, there's warmth, there's excitement. It gives you all of that in one song. And I felt a little bit of that listening to Mariah the Scientist. So I thought that was cool. I have not listened to previous albums, so I will not compare it. But what I will say is, you know, I will definitely be listening to this again. As I said, I thought this was really good, and yeah, I just feel like she made music that kind of made you feel like, oh, okay, this is nice. Like this is a vibe. This is you could roll the windows down and crank the music up. You could, like you said, no more entertainers. We can relatable content, which music should definitely be relatable sometimes. Not it doesn't have to be all the time, but it's nice when it is. So yeah, I thought this was great. I don't have any complaints. There was nothing that stuck out to me where I was like, I wish she would have done this differently, or oh, I wish she would have done something else. And I do agree with you. You can't if you get too deep into comparing artists and especially people they said they're inspired by, then you're always going to be on an uphill battle. It's never going to be exact and it's never going to be the same
Yeah.
sort of thing. So that's why it's
Yep.
inspired by.
Yeah, and I think you can hear it clearly. And for those who don't know what roller coaster music is, not only do we have that example, but Dash also put together a lovely playlist for us a while back
Oh
that I will put in
yeah.
the bottom here in the
Yeah.
description to this video. So if you're watching this, just hit the drop down, and in the description will be a Spotify link to a playlist that Dash put together a while back of roller coaster music.
One of my favorite roller coaster songs. That was a good plug.
I
Thank you
try.
for that because I forgot. But one of my favorite roller coaster songs and actually might be on um, that playlist is Mariah Carey, Always Be My Baby.
There you go.
Or Fantasy. Fantasy is always also one. But anyway, we can move on.